안녕하세요. 저는 아시아 미나 재단에서 이제 미나 프로토콜을 육성하는 미나 재단에서 아시아 대표를 맡고 있는 박혁재라고 합니다. 오늘 이렇게 먼 길 와주셔서 정말 감사드리고요. 사실 저희 미나가 이제 한국에 되게 진심이에요. 그래서 한국 이제 팀원들도 지금 많이 뽑고 있고 한국에서 다양한 프로젝트들도 많이 육성하고 있는데 오늘 좀 그런 전체적인 모습들을 한번 여러분들에게 꼭 보여드리고 싶어가지고 좀 이런 행사를 준비를 하게 됐고요. 저희 미나 재단에서 또 이 개발자라던가 또 다양한 프로젝트들한테 다양한 지원 프로그램들 많이 제공하고 있으니까 관심 있으시면 이따 행사 네트워킹 시간 중에 뭐 저나 아니면 라이언이나 연락 주시면은 저희가 좀 자세하게 설명드리도록 하겠습니다. 그리고 저희 첫 번째 이제 스피치로 미나 프로토콜의 창업자이자 지금 미나 재단에서 그 치프 프로덕트와 스트래티지를 맡고 있는 에반 샤피로께서 발표를 진행하도록 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Hello, hey everyone. So I'm Evan, one of the co-founders of Mina. We're just going to talk for a few minutes about the protocol, so you know what's happening. I think it's really cool, so I hope it's interesting as well.
네, 지금 미나의 이제 코파운더인 이제 에반이고요. 간단하게 미나 생태계, 미나 프로토콜이나 미나 생태계에 대해서 소개를 할 예정입니다.
Okay. Yeah, we can go to the next slide. So Mina is a protocol based heavily on zero knowledge proofs. So to know what that means, we can talk about what are zero knowledge proofs. They're a really powerful piece of technology. Like one would say probably as powerful as blockchain itself and probably going to be as broad, if not much broader than them in the next few years, I think.
그 미나 프로토콜은 zk 네이티브 체인이에요. 그래서 영지식이라는 기술을 기반으로 한 블록체인인데 영지식이라는 기술은 이제 블록체인 자체만큼이나 되게 중요하고 더 확장성이 있는 기술이라서 영지식이 무엇인지에 대해서 간단하게 설명한다고 합니다.
Yeah. So what they are is a way to prove computation. So I can say, here's a proof that some computation on some possibly hidden data has a particular result. And that's really good for both private inputs and trusted compute for scalable, provable computation.
이제 영지식이라고 하면 결국에는 데이터를 공개하지 않고 이 데이터가 잘 처리가 되었다는, 컴퓨팅이 되었다는 걸 증명할 수 있는 알고리즘이거든요. 그래서 이제 영지식의 가장 큰 활용 범위는 이제 이 프라이버시, 데이터를 공개하지 않기 때문에 프라이버시에 관련된 이제 요소가 하나가 있고 또 블록체인에 있어서는 그 블록체인 위에서 컴퓨팅을 진행하지 않아도 되다 보니까 확장성에 있어서 오프체인 기존의 웹2처럼 오프체인을 제공하는 이 확장성에 이제 있습니다.
And as an example, like instead of putting your ID on the blockchain, which you would never want to do, you can instead make a proof about your ID and put that proof on the blockchain. And that makes it safe to put private data on blockchains. So for example, you can have a proof you've been KYC'd. You don't want to put your KYC on chain. That's not a good idea, a lot of sensitive data. But you can instead just put the proof on chain, and therefore you can interact with all the functionality you want from being KYC'd without having to actually release that sensitive information.
그래서 이 영지식이 활용된 케이스의 이제 가장 어떤 대표적인 예시가 KYC에 관련된 부분인데요. KYC를 하기 위해서는 블록체인상에서는 그 정보를 넣어야 되는데 그게 이제 이 개인 정보에 민감한 이슈가 있을 수 있기 때문에 영지식 증명을 통해서 이 KYC 정보를 공개하지 않고 이 KYC 정보가 알맞다라는 거를 영지식 증명을 만들어서 블록체인에 넣는 게 하나의 예시로서 볼 수 있습니다.
Yeah. So what's cool is like this works not just for something like an identity, but if you go to the next slide, it works for other things too. Actually, you can go back to one more. You can also do things like prove a zk rollup on chain. So you can put an entire thousands of transactions, millions of transactions into a proof and then post that on chain. So you can trust the results.
그 KYC 관련된 부분만 이제 영지식이 접목되는 게 아니라 결국에는 이제 정보를 공개하지 않고 증명을 만들 수 있는 거기 때문에 되게 다양한 이제 유스 케이스로 활용이 될 수 있는데요. 또 하나의 어떤 확장성으로 쓰이는 게 zk 롤업인데 이 많은 데이터를 처리를 하고 그거를 하나의 영지식 증명을 만들어서 이 확장성을 제공하는 게 이 또 하나의 유스 케이스입니다.
Yeah. And an example, this is zkConnect, which we'll talk later. We can go to the next one. Or you could put like proofs of other real-world data. For example, we're doing a proof of concept with Mirai assets about putting proofs of asset ownership. For example, if you own shares in an entertainment company, you could get concert tickets. But without revealing any of the private information about your asset ownership in the entertainment company.
그래서 KYC 요소나 아니면 스케일러블 그 롤업의 어떤 예시를 또 제외하고도 최근에 저희가 미래에셋이랑 파트너십을 한 것은 자산에 대한 증명을 할 수 있는 요소인데요. 웹2에서 갖고 있는 자산을 영지식 증명을 만들어서 이 블록체인에 기록할 수 있는 그래서 하나의 크레덴셜로 활용할 수 있는 또 하나의 유스케이스가 있습니다. 네.
So what's cool about Mina? Mina is a general purpose solution for all the things you just saw. It's for making zero knowledge proofs programmable and general purpose. So you can take anything you want, any piece of data, any computation, and create a proof of it and then post it on chain. So it's very powerful. And if you're a developer, anything you can kind of think of that you want to make a proof about, you can do that with Mina's technology.
미나는 이제 이러한 아까 말씀드렸던 다양한 영지식 유스 케이스들을 보편적으로 활용할 수 있는 보편적 레이어 1이라고 생각해 주시면 되고요. 어떠한 컴퓨테이션이든 영지식으로 만들 수 있으면 미나에 기록할 수 있습니다.
You can think of Mina, what Mina really is you can think of it as kind of these three things in a layer. At the top, it's a programming language for writing like zero knowledge proof circuits. It's a development environment for deploying those circuits so they run somewhere on chain and can interact with each other. And it's this very powerful zk layer 1, which is very deeply integrated with zero knowledge proofs for being decentralized and also being scalable and privacy.
미나 블록체인이 실제로 구성 요소를 보면은 이게 세 개로 보실 수 있는데 이 영지식 증명을 만들기 위해서 돌려야 하는 이 서킷이라는 이제 이 엔진을 쉽게 이용할 수 있는 이 프레임워크가 있고요. 또 그거를 이제 위에서 그걸 활용해서 zk 앱들을 다양하게 개발할 수 있는 개발자 환경과 결국에는 이 모든 것들이 이제 기록되는 미나의 zk L1이 있습니다.
And a couple things to mention that are really cool about this is you write your zkPs in something called O1.js, and the way the whole thing works is for one, it's all in TypeScript. It's like a version of JavaScript, very easy to learn. But also, it's very, very fast enough where it can run on users' devices, which means data never leaves the device, only the proof leaves the device. So it's extremely private and secure for users.
그래서 미나가 제공하는 이 zk 프로그램 랭귀지가 O1.js라는 그 이제 이 프로그램인데요. 이거는 타입스크립트 기반으로 만들어진 프레임워크예요. 그래서 개발자들이 되게 쉽게 영지식 증명을 만들 수 있고 또 이 영지식 증명이 되게 빠르게 만들 수 있어서 이제 유저의 모바일 디바이스에서도 영지식 증명을 만들 수 있습니다.
Mina also allows us to work very scalably. You can combine these zero knowledge proofs recursively, so you have like a fractal tree of zero knowledge proofs, each doing a very large throughput. So you can get whatever scale you want. It's just very horizontal. And Mina is also always making a zero knowledge proof of everything that's ever happened on Mina, so you can verify the whole chain in your browser, in your phone. It's like extremely decentralized and censorship resistant.
또 미나는 이제 리컬전이라고 하는 이제 그 재기적 영지식 증명을 활용을 해서 이게 하나의 어떤 압축 기술인데요. 전에 있었던 데이터를 현재 데이터랑 합쳐서 하나의 데이터로 만드는 기술이라고 생각하시면 돼요. 그래서 미나 제네시스 블록부터 지금까지의 모든 이 데이터들이 하나의 이 블록으로 전체 스테이트가 증명이 될 수 있어서 더 다양한 이 탈중앙성이랑 탈중앙성을 제공합니다.
So Mina has only very recently released this technology. We've been on mainnet doing payments for like a few years now. But we've only just released the mainnet of this smart contract and zero knowledge proof programmability stuff 2 months ago. So everything is super new. Yeah.
네, 이제 미나는 2021년에 메인넷을 론칭했는데요. 그때는 원래 페이먼트로만 사용이 됐다가 2달 전에 저희가 버클리 업그레이드란 걸 통해서 이제 이 zk 앱을 만들 수 있는 그 프로그램, 아까 말씀드렸던 O1.js를 론칭했습니다. 네, 박수 한번 주시죠.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and if you want to build or if you want to talk more, you can, for one, talk to David, our head of APAC. Anything, new projects, integrations, things that could be useful, just talk to David. And if you're a developer, like really go to this website. That's where you'll learn a lot more about Mina, a lot more technical details, and where you can start downloading and starting to code.
네, 그래서 GK 앱에 관심이 있으시면 뭐 저한테 언제든지 연락하셔도 되고 오늘 라이언도 있으니까 라이언한테 연락하시면 저희가 이 GK 앱에 대해서 좀 더 설명을 드릴 수 있고 특히 개발자 분들이시라면 사실 전반적인 모든 그 O1JS나 미나 블록체인 구조에 대해서는 되게 상세히 설명이 되어 있어요. 그래서 dot.minaprotocol.com으로 가서 한번 보신 이후에 이제 뭐 전화 라이언 통해서 연락 주시면 조금 더 효과적으로 대화를 할 수 있을 것 같습니다.
Go to the next slide. Yeah, so I think that's basically the summary. I think it's kind of the beginning of this technology. We just released it, and it's the first of this general purpose GK programmability like released in public. We've been working on this stuff for over 7 years now. So we're pretty excited that it's actually finally available to people to use in like a complete way, where you can really build applications with it. So I don't know, we're excited to both help people build with it, help new applications come out, and unlock all this new functionality with zero dollars.
이 영지식 증명을 기반으로 GK 앱들을 만들 수 있는 건 레이어 1 중에서 미나가 세계 최초이고요. 그래서 이 영지식 증명에 롤러뿐만 아니라 다양한 소비자 사이드의 GK 앱들이 나올 수 있는 환경을 만들었다는 게 되게 유의미하고 또 그런 유스 케이스들을 저희 오늘 보신 분들 중에서 미나에 관심 있으신 분들이 많이 참여해서 같이 생태계를 잘 만들어 봤으면 좋겠습니다. 감사합니다. 오케이. 다음 발표는 저희가 설명드렸던 미나 위에 이제 좀 더 확장성 솔루션으로 이제 레이어 2를 제공하는 zkConnect의 공동 창업자가 발표를 하겠습니다. So next presentation will be what we just explained about Mina as a layer 1, providing scalable solution called zkConnect, and the co-founder of zkConnect will be presenting today. Do we need to translate, Brian, or no? It's better not to, but it's also better to.
Hi everyone, my name is Brian. I'm co-founder of the zkConnect project. It's really nice to be back in Seoul and see the Korean crypto community. Everybody's always so welcoming. And hopefully we can all learn something here today about zk rollups on Mina. So zkConnect was basically born out of Mina protocol, and a lot of the things Evan just spoke to about the type of cryptography that Mina already has built in make Mina an ideal place to build zk rollups on top of, because it already has verifiable computation through zk, and therefore when we build zk rollups on top of Mina, we get a lot of the hard cryptography work for free out of the box that the Mina team spent years on polishing and has actually been in production for 2 or 3 years now. So it was important for us to choose Mina in terms of the compute model that Mina has, and our belief that this compute model, which has zk programmability built in, we believe is going to be the best route to allow developers to be creative and to innovate and to build new types of blockchain applications, more than we have today. And also it's the opportunity to bridge Web 2 and Web 3, because it has privacy built in and it runs on the user's device, which is really important. So that's why we didn't build another EVML2, and that's why we're building on top of it. And Evan gives some good examples about bridging Web 2 and Web 3 there. And sometimes I feel like in crypto, we live in our own silos on the blockchain, and there's not very much of a crossover between the two. And again, we feel that zk apps, because they run on their device, and because these proofs can be verified by anybody, that the opportunity exists to use your Web 2 footprint and your life and get some privacy over that, but also unlock opportunity, which I think is the most important thing. Yeah, so this is about the companies who control our digital lives today, and they have 99.99% of the power, and they take the same amount of the revenue. And I think zk offers the opportunity, combined with blockchains, to start to claw some of that back. This is the zkConnect team, and we're growing quite fast. We've been building for 18 months now. And here are some of our VC partners. We did a fundraise this year. And importantly as well, Mina Foundation and O1 Labs are our early backers and core builders. And so right now, our point is at DevNet era. And this means that we have a fully functional testnet, and a developer can deploy their Mina zk app directly onto the canonical general purpose zkL2, and they can test it out. The next big milestone for us is mainnet, and we're hoping to get to mainnet late Q3 or like sometime early Q4. And it's really good timing as well, because zk apps are only 2 months old, and so to have the opportunity to have really well scaled zk apps for the first builders and users that come along is a great opportunity for everyone. So some of the features of zkConnect, basically zkConnect inherits pretty much most of the zk app features that Mina has. So there's an opportunity to give the end user privacy over the data when they interact with the chain. And the off-chain compute on-chain verification model, like Evan mentioned, still remains. However, zkConnect was built in a modular way, where we're not bound by the L1 itself, and developers can actually spin up their own app chains for where they might want to fine-tune some parameters or configure it for their specific application, whether that be a DeFi application or a gaming application or whatever it is. You can spin up what is essentially your own version of Mina. And this is the architecture. You can see Mina at the bottom as our settlement layer. And the sequencer election will happen on the Mina L1. That means that proposers, validators will bid to become the validator for the transactions that have happened on L2, and they will verify them on L1. L2 zkConnect was fully basically compatible with Mina, and L3s can be split up, I guess, at ease. They can be ephemeral or non-ephemeral, and they can be use case specific. And importantly as well, the connections go out to EVM, just like Mina. And somebody in the EVM world can use a proof that has happened on Mina for their Ethereum application, which is, I think it's a really good use case for founders in the Ethereum world to service their users with zk, because it's quite hard to do zk on Ethereum, and it's better to do on a specialist chain like Mina or zkConnect. Yeah, so this is kind of how we see our growth trajectory. It's not linear, but it makes sense to attract in Web3 devs and users right now, because we are the users who exist. But phase 2 we call Web3 tangential, and I guess these are people who are Web3 curious but haven't made the jump yet, right? And I feel like zk apps and Mina itself and zkConnect are a really good jump-off point for people who want to move in from Web 2 to Web 3. Why is that? Because, well, they don't have to worry about gas cost on chain, because the compute is done off chain and this constant size verification happens on chain. They can use privacy, and people in Web 2 are used to having privacy, right? Because it's the central server who orchestrates everything. And number 3, Evan mentioned as well that the surface language for zk apps is TypeScript. TypeScript is the biggest programming language in the world. Somebody should fact check me on that later, but it's pretty close if it's not. So we really feel like Web 2 is a really good jumping off point. And phase 3 is enterprise, and this has already started to happen, and we've already had like permissioned blockchains being experimented with quite a few years ago, and they never really worked out. But we feel that the best solution for enterprises is to use public blockchains with zk proofs. That way they don't need to expose their databases or their information to other parties, but they can still interact on chain with their users or with other enterprises. And here are some of the use cases that we feel zk was good for. And we chose these because we already have teams building in these verticals. But yeah, like generally AI something's going to happen at the cross section of blockchain and AI. We don't fully know what it is yet, but I think what we can safely rely on is that any companies building with AI are going to need more and more of our data. And finance is important as well. If as BlackRock say that tokenization is going to be done on blockchains, then we're going to need privacy over that, right? And we can't have everybody's information exposed. And gaming is something I'll get to on the next slide. And yeah, like generally internet, I guess maintaining privacy, but also offering opportunity for users to not sell their data, but use their data in ways that's good for them and not the other way around. One use case example here is a game on zkCo. And zk apps are particularly good at doing compute off-chain, like recursively verifying all the compute has happened, and then getting that proof onto chain in like a small constant size, right? So if all of this gameplay was on a normal blockchain, every move or every action would be a single transaction in itself. But what zk apps can do is that they can recursively prove everything that happened and then settle it to chain in a small proof. So the user flow here looks like, just back one. A user on the EVM in MetaMask, they sign an Ethereum signature, and this then in the background gets verified on Mina, because Mina can verify an EVM signature. All of the gameplay happens on Mina/zkCo, and once the gameplay settles, it's bridged back to Ethereum or the EVM chain, wherever they've come from, and the game settles. But this game could go on for hours and hours and hours. There could be many, many players, etc. But the proof of the state of what happened gets easily passed back to Ethereum in a cheap way. And the cool thing here is that the user doesn't really know they've left Ethereum. They've entered their MetaMask wallet. They might have staked ETH or whatever to play the game. But the gameplay has happened on zkCo in a super efficient way. And it's kind of good for a gaming developer because, let's face it, there's a lot of TVL on Ethereum and there's a lot of users there already, but it doesn't have native zk. So there's a way that they can kind of like, at the same time, get the zk attributes of zkCo while also getting to the user base of Ethereum. And this use case, or this kind of like Ethereum to Mina and back loop, is replicable for any other use case, which I think is quite important. Yeah, I think somebody else prepared to this. Vitalik said this, I think 2 years ago, or so we're 2 years in, so he's got 8 years left to be proven, and my bets are that it will be proven. Thank you very much.
네, 간단히 요약하면 이 미나 위에서 이제 더 빠른 로타임을 갖고 훨씬 더 많은 컴퓨팅을 진행할 수 있는 빠른 더 TPS를 갖고 있는 L2 스케일러블 체인이라고 봐주시면 되고요. 곧 이제 올해 론칭을 이제 할 예정이고, 게이밍에 좀 더 특화된 형태로 이제 L2가 만들어졌어요. 그래서 제코에 관심 있으신 분들은 브라이언한테 이따 연락하시면 될 것 같고요. 네. 다음 이제 그 발표로는 저희 미나의 이제 30년, 미나의 이제 시니어 솔루션 아키텍트, 제가 이제 금융권에서 이제 30년 경력을 가진 필립 8살이 이제 발표를 할 예정입니다. So the next presentation is our Mina Foundation's senior solution architect also.
안녕하세요. Hi, I'm a solutions architect at the Mina Foundation, and what am I going to talk about? Briefly, what are zero knowledge proofs, what the Mina protocol is, what are zk apps, and the core of the presentation is a use case that we're actually building with Mirai asset securities around RWAs. So what are ZKPs? They're cryptographic proofs. So if you think about the blockchain, it's kind of the original blockchains were built around hash functions and asymmetric public key signatures. Zero knowledge proofs are an extension to this. So it's just deep cryptography, a lot of maths, very complicated, but we abstract that away from you. So what's zk got to do with Mina? So Mina is an L1 blockchain built on ZKP. So if you want to build on Mina, you're going to use O1JS. If you want to compose recursive proofs, which is one of the unique features of the Mina blockchain, you use a library called Pickles. And then Kimchi is the proving library, which does the actual magic of ZKP. So next one. So traditional blockchains use on-chain computation. So what I think about that is if you want to do 5 lines of code, it's going to cost you 5 gas. If you do 500 lines of code, it's going to cost you 500 gas. 5,000 lines of code, it's going to cost you 5,000 gas. So there's obviously limits on that, and you're also competing with everybody else in that blockchain ecosystem. So Mina is an L1, it's a ZK native L1, so it works like a traditional blockchain. But we think we've solved the blockchain trilemma because we think it's decentralized. Evan was talking earlier about the succinctness of the blockchain, which makes it very easy to synchronize with. It's scalable and it's secure. There's a lot of cryptography in here. So Mina uses verifiable computation to prove off-chain execution, then verify on-chain. So what that really means is I have 5 lines of code, and I generate a proof, I send an account update with the proof to the blockchain, and that verification transaction is 1 cost, let's say 1 gas. If I have 500 lines of code, I generate a proof, I do exactly the same thing, and it's still, let's say, 1 gas. If I have 5,000 lines of code, still 1 gas. So think about the power of the blockchain applications you can start building using this technology. So what are zk apps? Next. So O1JS is the TypeScript library. We can skip over that. It's a DSL. We've talked about that. So the advantages of zk apps are privacy, no gas. I say no gas, but there is a transaction cost, but it's different. Scaling, we can do roll-ups through recursion, but zk is more than just roll-ups. zk is off-chain computation, privacy, and one of the unique features of Mina is it also adds this element of composability. I can combine proofs together with the Pickles library. So now into the core of the presentation, Mirai Asset Securities STO-POC. Right, so what is tokenization? Tokenization bridges the gap between real-world finance and DeFi. We take something, we tokenize it, and we create new markets because we can fractionalize those tokens, open up new markets, get faster settlement. All this is done on the blockchain. It also opens up new opportunities for non-traditional assets, such as music copyrights, IP, intellectual properties, and then traditional markets. We've got commodities, corporate debt, securities, and so on and so forth. Next. So just a quick sort of view of where we are. Currently, RW on chain is $11.6 billion. And that's growing. And you can see in the last year the amount of growth. So I think RWAs are an area of interest. I'm sure you're all aware of this in the blockchain world. And thank you to rwa.xyz because I ripped off this data from their website. Next. So what are Mirai Asset Securities doing? They're building a complete solution for the issuance of STOs. And they do it for regulatory reasons, they do it on a private blockchain, which is built on Hyperledger Vessid. And they provide a complete solution: primary markets, secondary markets, creation of anything you want to tokenize, they can help you do that. So where do Mina come into this? We're collaborating with Mirai Asset to provide a privacy-enhanced solution to their STO solution. So users can create a proof of ownership of an STO and put that on a public blockchain while still maintaining regulatory compliance and privacy. And again, the opportunity for new use cases, for example, collateral on DeFi lending platforms is kind of all there. If you can prove you own something, I can collateralize it. So how does this work? So the system's got two components. It's a zk rollup, which is verifiable computation. So what we're doing is we process all of the data on the Hyperledger blockchain. We store that in an off-chain storage solution, which has a commitment on the public blockchain. And then the sort of the second component is a web front end that users who have the right secrets can then make claims on that ownership of data, create a proof and an attestation, which they can then use to do these other things. So what's very clear that we should say, and this doesn't create STOs on the public Mina blockchain, and what we're using is we're using zkP to prevent data leakage and preserve privacy. So this is a little more detail about how the zk rollup works. And again, the key thing to remember here is all of this is off-chain computation. So this rollup operates on-premise in Mirai's secure environment. So again, we're preserving privacy, we're maintaining regulatory compliance, but we're facilitating the ability of users to take advantage of what they own. The next stage is the proof of ownership. So at this point, we have a web front end. Again, we look at the off-chain data that is secured via commitments on the blockchain, and we create proofs of ownership, which we can then use for other purposes. So use cases, well, it's secure and private access to Web3. We're bridging that gap between traditional finance and Web3. And customer benefits to proven ownership. If I can prove without revealing who I am and what I own, I can get early access to products. I can get discounts to the latest record. I can get membership to a club. I can buy an early release of a pop group or whatever. Other zkP, which we were exploring, is enhanced KYC and proof of compliance. So I think that's an interesting one where you can add compliance to traditional finance and prove, for example, that I'm not on a sanctions list. So I'm valid to trade on a specific instrument. And then the final slide, if you're interested in building with Mina or you want to talk more about RWAs or specific detail about that use case, come and grab me. If you want to build with Mina, talk to David, who is over here. He's based in Korea, and we'll be happy to talk to you about building on Mina. Docs.Mina protocol, Evan mentioned that earlier. If you want to learn more about the technology, either go there or just come grab us and talk to us. I think that's it. Thank you.
네, 여기까지는 좀 이제 플랫폼 미나를 포함한 이제 웹툰 제품에 대한 얘기였었고, 이제는 저희 미나 생태계 현재 약 한 70개의 GK 앱들이 지금 만들어지고 있어요. 그리고 그 중에 많은 이제 한국에 좋은 프로젝트들이 있어서 한국 프로젝트들을 좀 소개시키고 싶어가지고 짧게 이제 PPT를 준비를 했는데 그 중에 첫 번째인 이제 미나를 기반으로 한 이 NFT 프로젝트인 모바를 이제 소개를 시키도록 하겠습니다. 그래서 zk 크리에이티브 스튜디오 이제의 주연님이 이제 설명을 하실 겁니다. So, you know, Mina ecosystem is still unknown, and there are a lot of zk apps that are being implemented right now. There's over 70 zk apps that are implementing into mainland, and we also have great developer and projects coming in from Korea. So we just wanted to introduce a few of those projects. One is zk Creative Studio MOBA, and she will be presenting.
Hi, I'm Captain River. I'm from a future where we don't have freedom of speech anymore. In my future, humanity lost their decision-making authority to AI. we have to follow conclusions from AI. Well, yes, it's simple to continue the lives. But humanity lost their feelings and diversity. We realized what we want is to get back our authority and build the future by our power. That's why we started the Project MOVA. Human, I need your help. Once you get your mask, you will be able to connect to the MOVA space. We have to build tools to protect freedom before 2025. Again, this is the last chance for humanity. Don't repeat the faults of us. Get your mask and move a space.
안녕하세요. 저 이번에 한국말로 진행을 할게요. 여러분 다들 여기 오셨고 방금 강연들 다 들으셨으니까 zk 뭔지 다 아시죠? 근데 이게 zk가 저희는 크리에이티브 스튜디오이고 그래서 zk를 조금 더 사람들이 쉽게 이해할 수 있으면 좋겠다고 생각을 했었어요. 그래서 zk가 프라이버시라는 기능도 있고 여러 가지 있는데 이걸 좀 사람들이 직접 좀 갖고 놀면 어떨까라는 아이디어에서 시작을 했고요. 이렇게 저희가 만드는 프로젝트는 NFT 프로젝트를 모바라고 이제 합니다. 방금 캡틴 모바가 먼저 미래에서 와서 우리의 그 자유가 박탈당한 AI가 모든 결정을 하는 그 미래에서 우리는 다시 그 인류의 다양성과 주권을 찾고 싶다라는 미션을 줬고 그래서 이 모바 프로젝트를 같이 여러분과 함께 하고 싶다라는 그런 메시지를 전달을 했고요. 먼저 모바가 뭐냐라고 하면은 미나 위에서 올라가는 zk DAO예요. 그러니까 결국은 이 zk라는 기술을 어떻게 하면 우리가 같이 더 나은 방향으로 쓸 수 있을까에 대해서 같이 의견을 모으자라는 커뮤니티 NFT이고요. 우선은 9월까지 저희가 미나 생태계 내에서 1000명에게 에어드랍을 진행하려고 하고 있습니다. 이렇게 한 이유는 저희가 아까 말씀드렸듯이 지금 zk 기술로 우리가 할 수 있는 펑션들이 있는데요. 먼저 선택적 정보 공개를 할 수 있죠. 예를 들면 제가 대한민국 여자라는 사실을 빼고 어떤 의견을 내거나 통계에 들어갈 수가 있고 또 두 번째로는 신뢰에 대한 코스트를 굉장히 낮춰줄 수 있는 게 있죠. 예를 들면 미나가 22kB를 모든 컴퓨테이션을 처리할 수 있잖아요. 이런 것처럼 되게 다양하고 좋은 기술들이 있는데 문제는 전 페이지로 해주시면 문제는 우리가 진짜 이거를 우리의 실제 삶에서 어떻게 적용을 하는 게 좋을까에 대해서 아직 우리가 좀 고민이 더 필요한 시점인 것 같아요. 그래서 이 고민을 하는 거는 개발자뿐만이 아니라 그냥 우리들, 그냥 일반 사람들, 그냥 삶을 살아가는 우리 같은 사람들이 어떻게 이 zk를 활용할 수 있을지에 대해서 같이 한번 고민해보면 좋겠다라는 취지입니다. 그래서 저희는 여러분들의 의견이 되게 중요하다고 생각을 했었고요. 쉽게 말하자면은 간단하게는 이런 거 할 수 있을 것 같아요. 우리가 예를 들면은 zkOK 혹은 이제 방금 말씀하셨던 앱들 있잖아요. 여기에서 우리가 소팅 기능이 필요한데 어떤 기능을 우리가 원할까? 그거를 투표를 통해서 만들 수도 있을 거고 요새 덱스 밈코인이 엄청 활성화되고 있잖아요. 근데 좀 무분별하게 거래가 되는 부분도 있는데 우리가 진짜 밈코인 생태계를 좀 건전하면서도 재밌게 하려면은 이 덱스에 어떤 기능들이 들어가면 좋을까? 한번 이거를 우리가 커뮤니티 투표를 통해서 정해보면 어떨까? 좀 이런 DAO, zk DAO를 커뮤니티를 한번 엮어보자라는 게 저희의 아이디어이고요. 좀 나아가서는 미나가 이제 막 생태계가 시작되고 있잖아요. NFT도 이제 막 나왔고 플랫폼도 이제 막 나왔고 그래서 저희가 NFT를 런칭하는 거기도 한데 이런 우리 실생활에 진짜 필요한 기술들을 표준을 만들기 위해서 한번 진짜 실생활엔 이런 게 필요한데 미나에서 이런 거 먼저 만들어줄래? 라고 제안하기도 하는 그런 DAO 프로젝트를 한번 해보려고 합니다. 아까 캡틴 모바가 말했던 모바 스페이스는 아마 저희가 의견을 교환할 수 있는 공간을 말할 거예요. 그래서 우선은 디스코드를 생각을 하고 있고요. 뭐 이 부분은 향후에 뭐 10월 달쯤 펑크폴이랑 같이 협업을 하면서 투표 기능을 같이 마케팅을 해보고 뭐 여러 가지 의견 교환해보고 이거는 좀 커밍 순입니다. 저희의 계획이고요. 그래서 9월까지 1000명의 GK 커뮤니티한테 에어드랍을 해드리려고 합니다. 그 다음에 10월부터 저희 활동을 시작하려고 합니다. 오늘이 첫 번째로 저희 프로젝트를 발표하는 날이에요. 그래서 감사합니다. 2층에 저희 화이트 리스팅 부스가 있으니까요. 그 미나 원래 주소만 넣어주시면 돼요. 뭐 집에 가서 하셔도 되고, 그러니까 이거 꼭 한번 해서 동참해 주시기를 부탁드리겠습니다. 끝났나? 네. 이거 찍으셔도 돼요. 화이트 리스팅 막 하셔도 됩니다. 그리고 위에 부스에 오셔서 이거를 인증해 주시면은 미나 굿즈 받는 데에 스탬프도 드리니까 많이 참여해 주세요. 감사합니다. 그 다음에는
방금은 이제 그 모바 스튜디오였고요. 아까 말씀드렸던 것처럼 이제 저희 미나 굿즈 받기 위해서는 또 그 럭키 드로우 하기 위해서는 이 스탬프가 필요해서 2층에 가서 한번 보시면 좋을 것 같고요. 다음은 이제 모바랑 되게 그 협업을 많이 하고 있고 또 밈코인 관련해서 영지식으로 이 증명을 만들어서 좀 더 이 좋은 사람들만 이 밈코인에 참여할 수 있게끔 하는 펌프지라는 프로젝트의 루크가 발표하도록 하겠습니다.
일단은 안녕하세요. 헤이, 저 좀 넘겨야 될 것 같은데. 네. Hey, I'm Luke. I'm a dude building zk abstraction infrastructure, and I'm fully interested in zk, cutting edge technology. And I think current problem of zk domain is there is not cultural consumption of zk. Like meme coin and NFT community like that. And so I think there is need to cultural consumption of zk. So I finally came up with zk abstraction infrastructure for comfortable UX user zk experience of Mina. And my zk extension provides so comfortable UX for users. But this is architecture of zk extension, but most of you don't interested in this zk extension. And I'm building on PumpC that interacts with my zk extension, which is zk abstraction infrastructure. And let me show you how it works. There is no additional step for proving user statement if the user visit Mina Protocol X account or user's Instagram name includes ETH or Mina Seoul like that. Those enjoyable proving. And next slide is yes. 네, 그래서 이게 증명이 어떻게 되는 거냐면 그냥 갔다가 오면 알아서 증명이 됩니다. 따로 유저가 뭐 할 필요 없어요. 그래서 좀 기다리면 알아서 증명이 되는 겁니다. 네. 그래서 방금 거는 그 유저가 미나 프로토콜 X 어카운트를 갔다 왔다는 증명인데 그거 말고 뭐 다른 커스텀한 증명들 많이 쉽게 만들 수가 있죠. 네. 그리고 이거는 유저의 인스타그램 핸들에 뭐 ETH 이런 키워드가 들어가 있냐 그런 걸 증명합니다. 그래서 뭐 그냥 갔다가 오면 알아서 증명이 돼 있어요. 그리고 이거는 카카오톡 증명인데 이것도 그냥 알아서 갔다 오면 돼 있습니다. And then I'm keep plugging away of this work, zk abstraction. Okay, and lastly, I tell you, keep in touch with us. 저거는 제 트위터 핸들인데 나가시면 저랑 네.
네, 펑크폴입니다. 안녕하십니까? 저희는 미나 블록체인을 위해서 투표 시스템을 만들었고요. 지금 보여드릴 것은 그 두 개의 토큰으로 하는 투표 시스템입니다. 우선요, 한번 클릭해 보실래요? 그거 말고요. 프레젠테이션을 네, 오케이, 엔터. 아까 프레젠테이션이 어디로 나왔었어요? 오른쪽으로 나왔어요. 네? 프레젠테이션 어디? 뭘로 움직이고 있어요? 이걸 하고 아까 프레젠테이션 아니 그걸? 오케이. 이거 왜 이래? 마우스가 어디?
지금 본주가 있어요. 화면이 이렇게 이어져 있어가지고요.
어떻게?
네네. 이게 화면에 이어져 있어서 아까 프레젠테이션 띄워드렸는데
네, 프레젠테이션.
이거 아니에요?
네, 맞아요. 잠깐만. 맨 마지막 간것 같은데.
아, 오케이.
네. 다시 하겠습니다. 저희는 펑크폴이라는 회사고요. 시퍼펑크하고 폴이 합쳐진 사이버펑크라는 회사입니다. 저희가 영지식 블록체인으로 만들어서 현재 아마 미나 프로토콜의 zk 앱 중에서는 가장 많은 트랜잭션을 기록하고 있을 겁니다. 두 개의 토큰으로 하는 투표 시스템인데요. 네. 전 세계 어디서나 이 펑크 토큰을 구입함으로써 투표를 할 수 있습니다. 탈중앙화 투표를 할 수 있다는 거고요. 미나로 펑크를 바꾸는 아직 미나가 덱스가 아직은 안 돼 있는데요. 저희가 그냥 구현을 했습니다. 그걸 잠깐 보여드리려고 하는데요. 이걸 사용하고 싶어요. 어떻게 해요? 마우스? 아니. 잠깐. 마우스를 하지 말고. 잠깐만요. 내가 이걸 조금 적었나? 저거 띄워주실래요? 오케이. 예. 줄여주세요. 덱스를 눌러주실래요? 덱스를 눌러주세요. 덱스. 오케이. 네. 저거 클릭해주세요. 네. 저걸 클릭해서요. 지금 미나로 펑크를 바꾸고 또 펑크로 미나를 바꾸는 걸 보여드리려고 하는데요. 네. 하고, 수업하면요. 네. 컨펌하고. 네, 됐습니다. 다시 프레젠테이션 띄워주실래요? 이게 제가 좀 잘 하려고 하는데요. 이거는 캡슐입니다. 저희는 미나 프로토콜의 영지식 블록체인을 추상화시키고 캡슐화시켜서 이렇게 두 개의 토큰으로 투표를 할 수 있는 시스템을 만들었습니다. 네, 엔터 쳐보실래요? 이 미나 프로토콜은 지금 설명하기도 어렵고 사실은 영지식을 설명하기도 굉장히 어렵다는 걸 저희는 이걸 하면서 느꼈습니다. 그래서 이걸 어떻게 단순화시키느냐, 그리고 사람들이 탈중앙화 투표 시스템을 쉽게 사용하게 할 수 있느냐 하는 데 주목을 하고 있거든요. 네. 이 두 가지 토큰으로 가능합니다. 아까 모바 팀이 뭘 했냐면은 굉장히 아트적인 그런 걸 했죠. 저희는 투표 시스템을, 표를 NFT로 만든 겁니다. 그게 하나가 있고요. 또 하나는 펑크라고 하는 토큰인데요. 이건 영수증입니다. 영수증이고 리워드를 줄 수 있어요. 또 토큰만 구입함으로써 투표를 할 수 있거든요. 네. 네, 이렇게 단순했다는 의미고요. 그래서 전 세계 어디서나 이게 펑크 토큰을 구매함으로써 탈중앙화 투표 시스템을 구현할 수 있다라는 겁니다. 네. 네. 네, 이게 스마트 컨트랙인데요. 네. 이 부분은 좀 설명을 해야 되겠는데요. 이게 뭐냐면 영수증입니다. 우리가 투표를 하고 나면 저희는 이 투표 시스템이 텔레그램하고 카카오톡으로 돼 있어요. 카카오톡에서 투표를 참여할 수 있거든요. 그걸 영지식으로 영지식 블록체인으로 연결했다고 보시면 되는데요. 네. 이건 뭐냐면 베네수엘라 사례인데요. 최근에 이 투표에 대해서 아마 얘기가 많은데요. 저분은 하고 싶은 게 뭐냐면 자기가 투표한 내용이 투표 결과에 있는지를 확인해 보고 싶은 거거든요. 그럴 때 펑크폴 월릿으로 링크를 하면은요, 자기가 아까 받았던 리워드 펑크 토큰으로 자기 이 투표 결과에 포함되어 있는지를 확인할 수 있습니다. 네. 저희는 10월 달에 펑크폴 플랫폼을 이제 베타 오픈을 하고요. 지금 플랫폼이라기보다는 이제 만들어서 할 수 있는 그런 형태로 되어 있고요. 또 하나는 그 국회의원 에코라는 걸 합니다. 국회의원들이 사용하는 그런 시스템인데요. 그걸로 이제 지역 국민들의 투표를 저걸로 할 수 있습니다. 들어주셔서 고맙습니다. 고맙습니다.
So our last presentation will be zkML, and he will be Christoph will be explaining his project. Thank you.
와. 뭘로? 이걸로. Okay. Hey guys, I'm Chris, and I'm an AI engineer, and the topic today is a little bit difficult. So I'll try to make it easy for you guys. So I'm a software engineer for 12 years. I mainly focus on AI and big data. And I joined the blockchain industry 3 years ago, and I'm working on the Mina research project. And this is outline of today's speech. The first one, The first one is importance of the large scale models. The second is zkML technology. So I'm going to let you understand what is it like. And third, benchmark. And first, I'm going to introduce the large scale zkML model leveraging recursion. Okay, so we are living in the era of big AI companies, and you're already using ChatGPT, I think, right? And since the immersion of the transformer models, the size of the network is really getting bigger, and the AI models is kind of chicken game of the big companies, and this is the current situation of AI industry, and we need lots of money to make big AI models. And this is one of my favorite quotes from Richard Sutton. He mentioned about the AI technology. On his experience, AI technology is heavily rely on the computing power. Like, you don't have to think about the specific algorithm. You have to make a way to leveraging the computing, like large scale model and large scale computing, large scale data set. So I'm going to introduce what is zkML. Like zkML is built on the base of the zkP, and the zkP is really hard to understand as well. So I'm going to show you an example of how you can use a general knowledge proof. The first, there is a prover, and you know the Sudoku game, right? Sudoku game. There is a prover and verifier. And when you solve the Sudoku game, you make an answer, a solution, and give it to the verifier. That's our conventional way to submit our exam paper, right? But I don't want to submit my exam paper because this is my personal information. So people want to make another way to verify their solution. So I want to accomplish this problem. I know the solution, but I don't want to share my solution to you. So this is how we do the GKP. So first, the prover submit my solution to the prover function. And prover function receive the solution and the problem, and it generates the proof. And by sending the proof to the verifier, it will check whether it is true or false. This is the basic mechanism of the zero knowledge proof. So, we are already in the AI industry, right? AI era. And there is 4 phases of the development of the artificial intelligence. First, from 1950, Alan Turing invented computer, right? A computer implement the rule-based expert system. There are lots of if and else. And the second phase, we are trying to use a classical machine learning models. So like before 30 or 20 years ago, there were lots of classical machine learning, like regression, logistic regression. And 10 years ago or 15 years ago, the deep learning models emerged. And recently, we are living in the large language model. So we want to use AI on the blockchain, but it is not possible because when you implement AI model on top of blockchain, you have to pay lots of gas fee. That's the problem. So you cannot pay that money. The second one is you can use machine learning model outside the blockchain, but you cannot trust them because if you use wrong output of the machine learning model, you will lose lots of money, right? So this is the concept of zkML. We are going to prove our machine learning prediction with the proof, so that the verifier on chain can verify its output when you make important decision using the machine learning. So this is the concept of zkML. So this is the conventional machine learning model. So you input the data, there is a weight of the machine learning model. It generates the output prediction value. But the zkML will produce prediction with the proof, so that the verifier on chain, on the blockchain, can verify its output, so that you can believe the prediction data. So for example, how can we use it? If we want to pay the blockchain, if we want to pay Bitcoin by our iScan, you can use zkML to implement that. Also, we can verify the action of the AI agent on the blockchain. There are 2 types of the zkML. The first one is input data is private. Input data is about the privacy. You can use the first approach. Second approach, if you want to hide the model weight, you can use the zkML as well. If the model weight is company secret, secret, you can use this approach. So currently there are not zkML application on blockchain industry, but I believe that one day we need this kind of integration. Yeah. So I conducted a benchmark test between the zkR and Mina zkML. I want to introduce that in the zkML ecosystem, it is quite early stage, but zkR is the most best performing library, and I also like this library as well. So I decided to compare zkR and our Mina zkML library. So I explain the experiment setup. First, I use a Ubuntu EC2 instance on AWS. 8 core, 16 gigabyte memory. And I compared the zkCare and O1JS. zkCare is built on the Halo 2. Halo 2 is a proof system, another proof system. And I set a test scenario like there is a complex level, like simpler model, complex model, step by step. And I measured the proof time, memory consumption, and CPU usage. So this is what I found. Like when the model size is very small, zkCare works very well, very good. But when you increase the complexity of the model, then O1JS works better. Even in a very complex model. And another is memory consumption. It showed a similar result. And the CPU usage was, good for both of the cases. So conclusion is zkCare works good on the smaller model or mid-sized model, but O1JS is working better on large models comparably. So this is the thing I found recently. Another idea of the zkML is O1JS have a characteristic of the recursion. Like Mina blockchain is built on the recursion property, right? So we also apply this approach to the zkML too, because zkML has lots of problems like computing inefficiency. Like zkML, when you use zkML instead of the conventional model, you will consume like 1,000. It is inefficient like 1,000 times. And most of the proof system have the limit of certain numbers. That's one of the second problem. And there are not many production-ready applications on the blockchain industry. And we have another idea to use a recursion on the zkML. Like, if you implement large model on a single model, it takes lots of time, and sometimes it doesn't work. But if you can break down the model into smaller models, then you can accomplish the model scalability. So, the nature of the machine learning, deep learning, the neural network is built on the hierarchical structure. So you can easily break down into smaller models, and then you can perform the prediction using the parallel way. Then you can accomplish higher throughput with a higher efficiency of the zkML. So this is what I'm researching recently. It is super complicated, but I had a great opportunity to show my recent research to you. And we are going to publish our library soon, so keep in touch. And if you are AI related guys, just tell me about your project. Thank you.
네, 지금 저희가 이제 준비한 프레젠테이션들은 다 끝났고요. 이제는 그 아이패드 래퍼를 하려고 하니까 그 사람분들이 여기 저희 이제 준비한 프레젠테이션은 다 끝나서 이제 래퍼를 하려고 하고 있거든요. 그래서 조금 더 이쪽으로 와주시면은 저희가 래퍼를 진행하는 데 도움이 될 것 같습니다. 저 밖에 쪽 안 들리는 것 같은데. 네네. 네네. 이거 잠깐 마이크 좀 들어주세요.
네, 뒤에 계신 분들 다들 앞으로 좀 와주시면 감사하겠습니다.
So we're going to do the raffle for the iPad soon. Alright. Number 26. Is there anyone who has number 26 for the bracelet? So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, for the next one. Number 8. 8. Yeah. 네네. 상현님 지워주세요. 상현님이 지워주실래요? 하는 건 있는데 제 없으니까. 이거 아이패드 한번 꺼내서 보여주시면 다음에 사진 한번 찍으면 될 것 같습니다. Alright. 1, 2, 3. Alright guys, thank you for listening to the presentation. And DJ will be on the booth for the second floor, and there will be a zk zone in second floor, so enjoy the party and please experience all the zk apps in here. Thank you.